This video is sponsored by Raycon earbuds. You ever run around in Breath of the Wild and just go, "Look at the bones!" I mean, there are giant ribs sticking out of the ground, this huge dragon head thing in a pit of quicksand, and probably the most well-known of Hyrule's bony artifacts, the Leviathan carcasses, spread out in the different corners of the world. And wouldn't you know it, every single one of these fossilized monstrosities is, unexplained. In true Breath of the Wild fashion, of course. But that has absolutely not stopped us from theorizing about their identities over the past 3 years, with the 3 Leviathan corpses being the most popular to talk about. And speaking of which, since you clicked on this video, you've probably figured out by now that that's actually what this video will be about. But not all of the Leviathans, just one. The most interesting one to me, the Ice Leviathan. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that's inside that cave in the Hebra location that has a shrine in it that you have to access by rolling a snowball down a hill puzzle. Yes, a hill puzzle and ram into some ancient stone doors. Yeah, that Leviathan. Not only is the location of this Leviathan incredibly strange, but it could also give a hint as to what or even who this giant flying whale used to be when it swam amongst the living. And I'm incredibly excited to announce that I'm going to be joined by a friend for this theory. Even though he's new on the scene, he's been making waves and turning heads with his incredible content so far. I am pleased to welcome monstermaze.
Hello there, it's me, monstermaze, and I am glad to be here. At the end of this video, be sure to hop on over to my channel, where together we will explore the much needed addition of underwater traversal in Breath of the Wild 2.
Now, before we get into the content of this bone-chilling theory, I just wanted to thank you for watching and inform you that you can make sure you defeat being at the mercy of the YouTube algorithm and always catch my newest theories by making sure you're subscribed to the channel with that bell on so you never miss out. My analytics tell me that over 80% of my viewers actually are not subscribed, so do yourself a favor and double check real quick. Also, leave a like on this here video if you find yourself enjoying what we've created. Anyway, without further ado, let's delve into the mystery behind the Ice Leviathan. Take it away, Monster Man.
The Leviathan Bones of Breath of the Wild are some of the strangest landmarks in a game full of, strange landmarks. But even stranger still is the Leviathan we actually find indoors, literally on the inside of these giant stone doors leading into the mountain. You see, as Bandit was mentioning earlier, 2 out of the 3 Leviathan corpses are found just out in the open, one being located down south in the Gerudo Desert region, and the other being found on the northeastern edge of the map, just on the other side of the Death Mountain area. However, the final Leviathan, the Hebra Leviathan, isn't like the other 2, no. To get to this dead beastie, you have to go through a door that's been carved into the side of the mountain. Once you snow smash your way through this door, you enter into a massive chamber filled with icy stalagmites, a shrine, and oh, yeah, the Ice Leviathan. Now, the first reaction that most people have to discovering this large dead fish is the exact same as discovering any of them. But once you take a closer look at everything surrounding the Leviathan's positioning and even the nature of the cave itself, you'll find that the Ice Leviathan has literally been hidden away from the rest of the world for an unknown amount of time, and suddenly it becomes way more interesting. But just how interesting, Mr. Bandit? Bandit? You there?
Oh, right. Yes, sorry. I was looking up your use of the word stalagmite. Turns out you did use it correctly, as a stalactite forms from the ceiling instead.
Yes. Yes, I know.
Oh, good. What makes Icy's positioning so interesting is first the question of how it even got here, as in inside this cave. You see, looking at the only visible entrance to this cave, for some reason, I find it hard to believe that this ex-whale just waltzed in here through the doorway. I mean, I don't know, something about it just doesn't make sense to me. I wonder what it is. But since it obviously didn't come in through the door, how else would it have ended up inside this cave? One might be tempted to say that it simply died in the great outdoors, the same as the other 2 Leviathans we find in the map, and that maybe it ended up in this cave because this mountain actually formed around the giant deceased body and was not present at the time of its death. So that's it then, right? Well, obviously I'm about to say no, that's not what happened. And here's how we know that for sure. 1, the Ice Leviathan, you know what? I'm tired of trying to come up with a new unique name for this thing every time I mention it. Let's call it, Shamu. Let's call it Shamu.
You want to call a giant whale trapped inside a tightly spaced cave Shamu? Isn't that a little, I don't know, insensitive?
Ooh, right. Well, how about I don't know, Sparky.
That works.
Okay, so 1, Sparky is in a cave that's in a mountain, but the others are not, right? As I was just talking about, you might be tempted to say that this is because maybe the icy mountain formed around the body over time. But if that were the case, why are there not also large rock formations or caverns surrounding the other two? Now, it's possible that Sparky died long before the other two. I mean, there's nothing that states they all died at the same time. So if it's just a matter of thousands of cubic feet of rock forming over the course of many, many years, then sure, it could just be because Sparky might be older than the other two. But let me add another layer to this to further state my point. Sparky is found inside a cave. Emphasis on inside the cave, not a part of the cave. You see, if rocks were to form around Sparky after it died, then the bone structure of Sparky would actually act as formative points for the newly forming rocks. In other words, Sparky would be a part of the mountain itself instead of just sitting comfortably inside. Interesting, isn't it? That must mean that this cave existed prior to Sparky's skeleton being inside it. I mean, yes, part of the right fin of the Sparky skeleton is inside the cave wall, but that might be due to ice forming over time since the wall is partially rock and partially ice, as evidenced by Link being able to climb it, but while it also visually appears to consist of a different material than just standard rock. So, the whale didn't get here through the doorway, and it didn't get here by just dying and having rock form around it. How else did it get here in that case?
What a great question, Bandit. I'd like to point out that there's actually another way that the Leviathan could have entered the cave.
You know, why can't life be like video games? 'Cause see, in video games, you can put like cheat codes in and stuff like that and make things a lot easier for you. And sometimes in life, you need a cheat code. One of the ways to escape the mundanity of this world is to maybe watch a Zelda video on the internet every now and then, or be able to wirelessly listen to your favorite tunes. Well, luckily for you, I happen to have a very important life hack for you that I'm excited to share. Introducing the Raycon Everyday E25 Earbuds by Ray J. Ooh. And actually at this point, it's not even an introduction. I mean, you guys know I love these earbuds. I've done these videos, what, like about 3 times now or so? Honestly, and this is my honest opinion, this is about as good as it gets with wireless sound quality. They have fantastic bass for listening to your favorite Zelda theorists. They deliver this premium audio quality at just about half the price of other premium earbuds on the market. You can just put them in and forget about them because they have 6 hours of playtime and their cute little charging case comes with 4 complete charges before you ever have to plug it back in. And of course, my favorite quality, all the colors that they come in. Beautiful. If you want to follow in my footsteps and hack your way to better audio, here's my cheat code for you. Click the link in the description below or go to www.buyraycon.com/MNB for 15% off your order. No, please, no thanks required. It's what I do. Now this offer is only around for a limited amount of time, so what are you waiting for? Go check today. And now, back to the video. And now, back to the video. Hey Jordan. Jordan! Yeah? Oh, what is it? Back to the video. Okay, Mr. Bandit, whatever you say.
If you look below the Leviathan skeleton...
Sparky.
Right. If you look below Sparky's skeleton, you'll see a small body of water. Now this is peculiar given the frigid temperatures surrounding the outside and inside of the cave. And if we take a look at the map, while inside the cave, the temperatures reach lower than -40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way colder than the freezing point of water. This tiny body of water should have transformed into solid ice long ago. But obviously it's not freezing for some reason. The only way that a body of water would maintain its liquid state in a place like this frigid cavern is if the water itself were actually a higher temperature than its environment. And this phenomenon is only possible if 1. The water is constantly moving because motion generates energy, which generates heat. Or 2. If the water we see is actually part of a much larger body of water beneath the surface, which would prevent the water from freezing over. And as we can see, this liquid state H2O is barely moving, and yet it's still in a non-frozen state, which according to science means that the only way it's remaining unfrozen must be because it's actually much deeper than we are allowed to see in-game. Since, this is the first time since A Link to the Past that we actually haven't been able to go underwater in a Zelda game that features water. So when you combine this with what Bandit was talking about regarding the difference between this and the other Leviathan locations and surroundings, it is our belief that this body of water here, which must be much deeper than what we're shown, is where Sparky came from. The speculation here is that this connects to some sort of massive underground water system that this Leviathan could have used to enter this little cave, and ultimately died here either by choice or because it couldn't leave. So that's it. Case closed. Nothing else to talk about here. Right, Bandit?
Well, there is one more thing.
Oh? What's that?
Well, we know how Sparky got there, but what about taking a shot at who or what Sparky used to be when it was alive?
Oh, right. Well, do you mind if I take this one?
Be my guest.
Alright, so you know how you have to enter through a paved path and doorway to get into this cave, and the first thing you see is this skeleton? Well, to me, that really reminds me of a place of worship, probably designed around Sparky itself. I mean, there's even a Sheikah shrine that was constructed here inside this random literal door in the side of the mountain. This place could be considered sacred if it was a place of worship for Leviathans, who have always been heralded as benevolent deities in the Zelda lore, such as the windfish having the power to create a universe within his dream. Or Jabu Jabu, who is also a windfish Leviathan, as seen by his rather giant nature and his little wings beside his ears, and who was also worshipped as a deity by the Zora. So what if this cave was a place of worship for Sparky? And what if
this is like a fairy fountain where a great fairy normally pops out of, but in this case it was actually Sparky? And since Sparky is a whale and clearly swims around in the water, or I mean used to swim around in the water, what if Sparky is a descendant of the one and only water Leviathan named Jabu Jabu from Ocarina of Time, who also was worshipped in an extremely similar manner, which would make sense of this obviously man-made doorway and path and even location of the Sheikah shrine as some sort of ancient place of worship for the Ice Leviathan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Whoops, I get a little carried away sometimes. After all, this is all pretty speculative, but it's very interesting to say the least. I'm glad we finally have a decently solid theory about the Ice Leviathan's strangely specific location. It's been bothering me for like 3 years now. Anyway, next up I wanted to talk about what that underwater section may mean for Breath of the Wild 2. Like, could you imagine if there's a dungeon down there?
Oh no, we talk about that in my video, remember?
Oh, yeah, right. Speaking of which, be sure to catch the other part of this collab over on monstermaze's channel. Links will be in the description below. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Do you think we're onto something regarding the strange appearance of Sparky the Ice Leviathan, or are we way off? Let me know in the comments below.
It was an absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot for having me on, and thank all of you for watching. Just as a quick reminder, this is a two-parter, so head over to my channel and see what we have cooking there.
Huge thanks as always to my fantastic supporters, of which I have a couple new faces. Please welcome Sepovic, Thomas A, Michael L, and some G to my elite crew. If you're interested in joining the channel and receiving some epic benefits, click the join button below or follow the link in the description to find out how. Also down there are my links to the social media pages I sometimes am slightly active on, so come on over and experience my slightly sometimes active activity. Or at least my Instagram, because I just post pictures of my adorable dogs there anyway. This is maskednintendobandit signing out. Have a great rest of your day. Peace!